What you need in the building. I'm going to talk some sports. I'm going to talk some politics. Let's start with the politics first, and then we'll talk about the sports. In order for truth to be seen, it must be tested. Donald Trump is challenging the validity of the elections. Now, that seems like a bad thing, but it is not. I know it's kind of ludicrous that most states have certified their elections, but we're waiting on Georgia to certify the elections after recounts, which is Donald Trump's right to request. What I think a lot of people don't realize is because Donald Trump has a certain following, excuse me, because Donald Trump has a certain following, and that following believes everything he says and is willing to act on what he says, it's very important that these recounts happen. And it's exceedingly important as well that whatever's challenged in the courts, the process carried out. I think Joe Biden understands this better than anybody else. Joe Biden said, there's no rush. Let's take our time. I'm going to do what I need to do on my end. And Apollo, there's enough evidence to warrant an investigation. So, yeah, let it play out. If there's evidence, we'll see. If there's no evidence to warrant an investigation, then the truth will come out. So, at the end of the day, for those people who are Trump supporters and believe Donald Trump, in spite of, I've been doing high research on this thing, in spite of the evidence to the contrary, let the thing play out because the ultimate truth will happen. So that's why I said let it play out. And Joe Biden, as you notice, has not been paying attention to this stuff. He has been carrying on, getting up to date with certain things. Of course, I've listened to the Secretary of State try to incriminate Joe Biden by saying he's colluding or something after the elections, and they probably would try to get him in a court case or tribunal or something. Just some dirty tactics, and I don't like the dirty tactics that people are carrying out. But the point behind it is, regardless, there's only so much they can do in that democracy. There's so many checks and balances at every step. We know that they're trying to also encourage laws to be passed, for example, where electors are changed so that they can get outcomes. They're trying to steal the elections. Donald Trump is accusing the electorate and the voters and the system of trying to cheat him. The same thing he said about Hillary Clinton when he ran up for elections with her. And strangely enough, he accepted that he won the election. So this is just rhetoric. And what needs to happen is the truth needs to happen. And it doesn't matter how much Joe Biden talks about how he won the election. It doesn't matter. That's not something to be addressed. The system, the democratic process needs to prove itself. There are many players in the democratic process. So when that is played out to its completion, we will know the truth. I said it from the beginning, I say it again, and I will repeat myself in saying it over and over again. This thing has to play out how it's supposed to play out so that Mr. Trump will realize that his rhetoric is not holding up to the facts. This is where reality hits the road. As I said, in a boxing ring, the truth comes out. We'll know with Kell Brook versus Terrence Crawford the truth. I believe Terrence Crawford will beat Kell Brook. I don't know how. I don't know exactly how, but I think he has all the tools. He has more tools than Kell Brook to beat him, I think. However, I am speaking on this political issue not to argue with someone or to create a divide or to be mad at anybody, but for the process to proceed to its ultimate conclusion. Donald Trump challenged a lot of things in the courts. The courts basically turned him down on most of the challenges. The challenges are very frivolous. they're circumstantial, or they're not supported by facts. Whereas the people who it's been televised, we see the people constantly, 24 hours, televised, counting votes and ballots. These people can outline the specific process with the specific people. I looked at it. I'll give you a straightforward case where Donald Trump talked about somebody who was deceased voting on a voting ballot. On further investigation, yes, the lady, the wife of the husband, is carrying his name, Mrs. David whatever, Mrs. David whatever. But it turns out it was she who voted, not him. And she didn't double vote either. And so it's these sort of specific cases that literally the people overseeing the voting and the agencies and the people, they have archived so very well, and they speak on it so very well that they can specifically identify the issue in court. These court cases are getting thrown out because the state, each state, has their specific information that they can give you. Whereas Donald Trump has circumstantial information from people who volunteer. When the people who volunteer don't have their facts correct, the state has their facts correct. That's why he's losing all these cases. And I believe in Philadelphia, though, it was corrected so that people could come closer to observe. Okay, I think it was during the my point being, the willy-nilly way of doing things has to stop. And I'm not going to tell Donald Trump it's not in his right to contest Georgia. It is a state in which it's less than 5% difference between the votes. So obviously they should do the recounts. It's tremendous. They want to do it by hand and all of that. So be it. It's a different method. Takes time. So be it. But let it play out. Let it play out. A Republican state with a Republican senator, governor, congressman, etc., these people oversee the voting. They're not stupid. Do you think they want to cheat for Democrats? They're going against Democrats. The last thing they want to do is have a Democrat in a position. So obviously due process is going on. This is common sense. On the ballots in which Donald Trump lost, his congressman or his senator won. Why would that happen? Why would that happen? These are common sense things. This is just simple common sense. Put 2 to 2 together. Simple common sense. So, using exaggerations, thousands and thousands of votes and millions of votes, it's just an exaggeration, and it's a pitch he's using to use the people who support him to extract money from them. He's extracting money from you. And you think he's using it for his court cases? Hell no. It's in his pockets for his next campaign in 2024, if he makes it that far. How is it you can't see that? I told people that, and I am not a Democrat or Republican. I'm an outsider, and I don't claim any position. I'm just watching the information, processing the information, and then coming to my verdict. So the Republican leaders of the Senate or some of the states or wherever districts, they are right to say, let this process play out. Notice Joe Biden is not contesting that. While the media, the leftist media and all this are going on, blah, 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 blah. Joe Biden's not on that. He's not, because he understands that the process needs to play out so people can trust in the democratic process. Whether or not their candidate won or not, this is not about that. This is about the process that's involved. And governors of states and people of states, whatever states they're in, take pride in doing a good job. This is common sense. If they need to investigate something, they'll investigate something. But if at the beginning of the investigation they realize that the claims that are being made are fallacious, then they're going to stop. Apollo. Shout out to Apollo. Also, Kell Brook is looking old, but it'll be a good fight. He was really good back in the day. I don't think he looks old. Looks like Kell Brook. His eyes are a little bit wrinkly underneath because he lost weight. By tomorrow, he'll look fine. Apollo, to be fair, they were saying for years about Russian collusion. So I don't care if Trump does this. It's not like they just happily took Trump's verdict in 2016. Yeah, but Hillary Clinton conceded. She did it the day after. So whatever they wanted to do after that, Donald Trump had a transition of power to do, and he was able to do his duty. In this case, he hasn't conceded, and so there can't be a transition of power. You can contest things and concede, which is what the Democrats did. Which, again, I don't have a problem with Donald Trump saying, "Oh, if I don't see the evidence, I need to check the system." And if he wants to do that, it's well within his rights. Nobody's saying no. It's just that it wasn't the protocol before, because it's a competition. Let's say Terrence Crawford faces Kell Brook, and Kell Brook beats Terrence Crawford. And Terrence Crawford goes away like a sore sport and doesn't congratulate Kell Brook and says, "I was robbed." Doesn't look good. It doesn't look good in boxing. It doesn't look good in life. Okay? So, and then on top of this is the thing that I don't like. He's extracting money from these people. I don't like it. You know what Donald Trump said about certain Republican people? He said they're stupid. That's what his personal opinion is, that the Republican people that support him are stupid. He could tell them any old thing, and they'll actually go with him. He actually said that. He reminded me of Bob Arum. When Bob Arum thought, people in the boxing community are stupid because he could circulate a rumor and everybody will believe it. So, I feel for Bianca and her husband. Those two guys are really level-headed, and they really played the game good. And I got to commend them on an excellent job they did with Donald Trump, because he could have been worse. He could have run off the hinge and done even worse stuff, okay? But Bianca and her husband actually kind of would have sort of hold him together somewhat. They probably have similar views to him, but they were smart enough to understand you can't. And Mike Pence, Mike Pence don't say much, but Mike Pence, again, kind of stabilized Trump. Just imagine Trump without Bianca and without Mike Pence. My God, that would be Trump unleashed. I understand also why the Republican Party is not saying anything. Why the GOP leaders are not saying anything. They wanted to play out to its ultimate conclusion, so whatever the verdict is, nobody can question it. And I think it's fair. I think it's just, and I think it's the right thing to do. And I've said it from the beginning. It is pretty obvious that Joe Biden won, but it is not pretty obvious to the people who support Donald Trump that Joe Biden has won. They're thinking there's some kind of foul play, and they're looking for a reason in their minds, just like fans, like boxing fans, to explain why this result has happened. So this is why this is very important. But in the process, Donald Trump is extracting money from these people. I don't like that. Just to facilitate his election in 2024, whatever else he wants to do. And that is disgusting. It reminds me of big business. This is what big business does to people. They suck you dry. They destroy you. They use you. And they say they're for you. It's awful. Think about it. This is not about the people. It's not about the people who elected Donald Trump. It's about Trump. This is not about your freedom. This is about Trump. Think. And people are worshiping this guy like he's some savior or something. He's not. Did he do some good things? Hell yeah. But he's not your savior. Why are you putting your trust in him? And I've even seen religious folk totally deceived by this dude. I'm shocked. I have a really nice, a guy I consider my uncle, and he actually believes in Trump. And I'm looking at him like, dude, you just don't understand. I'm not saying that Joe Biden is not being led by certain negative influencers in the world, but Trump's just an example of those negative people I'm talking about. And Joe's going to have to negotiate between understanding the balance that you listen to science at the same time. You got to be careful who is pitching their science to you. But that's a whole other story for another day. So I said all this to merge it now with Terrence Crawford versus Kell Brook. So I think Terrence Crawford is going to beat Kell Brook. I think he's going to beat him. Kell Brook has tools. Don't get me wrong. He has good tools, great tools, but he doesn't go to the body enough. He knocks out guys with headshots. That's one thing. The second thing is, as much as Kell Brook is well balanced and well poised, I look at his loss against Errol Spence, and I have to figure we need to see if his eyes are okay. And Terrence Crawford is definitely not going to test that. Okay. Now, Kell does go to the body. Don't get me wrong. He has a straight, beautiful jab to the body. He's going to be fighting Terrence Crawford, who may fight him in southpaw. I'm not saying that Terrence Crawford will stop Kell Brook. I'm not saying that. I won't go that far. I have to see. I can see in the fight what's really happening. I hear some people say he's going to stop him in 10 and stuff, blue blood and stuff. I'm not going to go that far. I've been wrong on a number of occasions. I don't want to go that far. But what I would say is, let's see how Kell Brook fares in the middle rounds. He was beating Errol Spence's ass for a good minute in that fight. And he's a big welterweight. And when the big welterweights clash, they clash. And he's a big welterweight, okay? So Terrence is going to have to negotiate around him, test him out, test his strength, test his power, test his punching power, and he could determine from there. But Terrence is just such a fantastic boxer, period, So I think that Terrence is he has so many different tools, from the way he feints, the way how he walks you down, the way how he circles you, the way how he boxes, the way how he can change direction, the way how he quickly changes his stance, the way how he changes levels. He does all kinds of things, and you can see he's gathering data on you as he's fighting. He has a decent jab as well. Tariq H says, I got Crawford in a very close decision. I don't think it's going to be that close, though. I don't think it's going to be that close. Because Kell's limited, and like I said before, he doesn't really go to the body that much. He headhunts. Most of his knockouts are hitting guys in the head because he's great timing, but I wish he would go to the body more. He protects his body decently, but again, he gets hit with the head. He likes to snap back from shots instead of and roll some of the shots. He does pivot out of the range of a guy who's throwing flurries, so he's got nice pivot work and stuff. But I still think that Terrence got so much going for him that he was going to assess Kell Brook and his attacks and the way how Kell Brook, and Kell Brook is solid. He's big, he's strong. He's going to be bigger and stronger probably than Terrence Crawford, or bigger at least. He'll be bigger than Terrence Crawford. So that's going to play into Kell Brook's hands. But from what I see of Terrence Crawford can do so many different things. I think that's what makes the difference. He can make different adjustments to Kell Brook. And Kell Brook, he's sharp, he's good, he's skilled and all of that. And possibly Terrence Crawford doesn't get him out of there. But I can see Terrence, because Terrence got the superior reach, longer reach. He's got a lot of things he can do in a fight with Kell Brook. So I know Terrence doesn't have the power that Kell Brook carries. I can tell you that for a fact. Kell Brook will hit you one shot and discombobulate you. Okay, so Kell Brook, and he'd be doing that to 154 pounders. So Kell Brook has that power. He's very, very strong. He can take a punch. Oh, that's another thing. Kell Brook gets hit with a jab just way too easily. He's a big guy, so he can take the shots. The other thing I noticed with Kell Brook is he gets hit. He gets hit in fights. He gets hit in fights. He's strong. He's big. That's why. But and he engages a lot, so it's perfect for Terrence Crawford. You know, um, Tarek H says I have Terrence winning by a landslide on the cards, but after watching Kale versus Errol and Triple G, I know this is going to be a tough fight for Terrence. I'm not saying it's not going to be tough. I'm just saying Terrence is going to make the adjustments, I think, to win this fight. I've been looking at both fighters, how they fight, everything. I've been looking at their weight, how they came on weight. I'm looking at Kell Brook. Kell Brook saying that, he has more energy and he's able to do things. And, he came straight off the Triple G loss, had to lose weight to face Errol. So I'm going to listen to those excuses and use them as factors as well. And we'll see what kind of Kell Brook we see. I know that in the middle of fights, though, Kell Brook tends to fade and then he comes back on strong. Terrence Crawford, man, it's Terrence is just, Terry Gates says Kell looks in good shape. Well, he always looks in good shape. That's the thing. The question really is going to be if his eyes are hold up, if his eyes are okay, he should be all right. Because I remember Errol Spence started hurting his eye in the 6th round, and that's when it started going downhill for Kell Brook. Kell Brook was whooping Errol Spence's ass before that. So that's something. If his eyes hold up, it's going 12. Okay, it's going 12. And Terrence Crawford is so competitive. He's going to find a way to win. And the idea is to find a way to win against Kell Brook. I have to see the fight really tell you because there are a couple of things. There's just so many unknowns. Is Kell Brook's eyes going to hold up? Is Kell Brook going to, protect his body really well? He does protect his body. Don't get me wrong, but he gets hit with body shots. He gets hit with shots while he's hitting you with shots. And that I don't know, but we'll see. I predict Terrence Crawford will win. That's as much as I can say. The other variables I can't really say. Okay. Some people think that Kell Brook is going to win the fight and then they'll give the decision to Terrence Crawford. Some people think it's going to be a close fight. I mean, early on, it's going to definitely be a close fight. Early on, even Kell Brook might even discombobulate Terrence Crawford. He might even hurt him, But as the fight progresses, I expect Terrence Crawford to make adjustments to Kell Brook. And I think he's going to slowly take over the fight. And I think he's going to end the fight strong. If he beats Kell wins, I want to see Kell versus Errol too. Why not? I mean, first of all, I don't know if Kell is going to win. I like I said, I favor Terrence to win. I don't see Terrence necessarily stopping Kell Brook, so I didn't put that in my prediction. All I can tell you is that Terrence Crawford is going to get the W. And Terrence is, man, he's something, man. He's something. So, I just don't think Kell has enough tools unless he can hurt him. I mean, and even if he does hurt him, it's still not enough to deal with Terrence. Terrence is so very plastic. He's so very elastic. He could do so many different things. I just don't see how Kell Brook will beat him. Whether it's close decision or unanimous decision, I think Terrence is going to take it. Do I think he can stop Kell Brook? Not necessarily. That's why I haven't put it in. It could happen. It depends on how Kell Brook comes in, what kind of Kell Brook comes in, etc. So, talk is cheap. Kell Brook can say, who's in best condition ever in his career. He can say whatever he wants. On fight night, we will see. He's definitely going to be significantly bigger than Terrence Crawford, I think, come fight night. But Terrence Crawford's taller than him. And it should be a good fight. Kell's timing, though. Kell's definitely going to connect with him. It should be a good fight. This would be, like I said before, Kell will kind of be like a step up. He's a step up fight. We'll see. He's not Keith Thurman. He's not Sean Porter. He's not Errol Spence. He's not Manny Pacquiao. But he's a step up fight, So we'll see how Terrence Crawford fares with Kell Brook. Tariq H says, I agree. I also have Terrence winning, but you have to remember that Kell's a bigger guy that's been in there with bigger guys, and that does play a factor when it comes to boxing. Absolutely. That's why I said I don't know about Terrence Crawford stopping Kell Brook. Now I mean, the only way I can see him stopping Kell Brook is if he could damage the eyes, have Kell Brook's eye all swollen and stuff, then I can see him stopping him because off of the cuts in the eye and Kell Brook can't see properly and he's blurry. So I could see that happening. But with respect to Terrence Crawford stopping Kell Brook with a body shot or something, I mean, it's possible. It's just that I just don't think so. I think Kell's fought much bigger guys than Terrence Crawford. And Kell Brook is a bona fide welterweight. Like, he's a big, 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 big welterweight, right? Somebody said, Kell coming in 168 on fight night, So, I mean, Terrence Crawford, very fit, very in shape. Should be an interesting fight. Some people are crying upset and stuff. I don't know about that. I think Terrence Crawford's going to get the W. Yeah, I think he's definitely going to get the W. It brings too much to the table, I'm telling you guys. Kell Brook don't have all of those variety of skills. Terrence could stop boxing you one way and just start boxing you a totally different way. He's got all these options. I'm not saying that Kell Brook can't adapt to those things as well. It's just that Kell Brook, as a fighter, he tends to want to walk you down. Like, even with Errol Spence, he was walking Errol Spence down. He was the bully in there. He was the bigger guy. Errol, he hurt Errol a couple times, right? But Errol came back. So, I mean, he hurt Kell Brook's eye, and I think that shifted the fight. Now, if Kell Brook's eye holds up, well, this could be an interesting fight. That's all I'm going to say. It's going to be a very interesting fight. I still think Terrence will have the will to win and probably get the W. Because, like I said, I think Terrence just got too many tools for Kell Brook. He does too many different things. And I know he's a smart boxer, even though he might be banging or brawling with certain people. I even assessed Jeff Horn and got him with that left hook. And, that right hook, that right hook that Terrence Crawford throws, it really comes through for him at times. And Kell don't really have an answer to the right hook unless he throws his left hook. There's just a lot of things, textbook wise. Terrence Crawford stepping around you, with the lead foot dominance, the southpaw stance, and that kind of stuff. So we'll see. I mean, Kell Brook, if Terrence Crawford switches and Kell Brook switches on him at the same time, that'll tell me something, that Kell's equal to the task of Terrence Crawford. But I don't know about that. He didn't look so successful against Errol Spence. This is the fight that kind of shows Terrence's placement in the welterweight and how good a fighter Terrence is. Yeah, not really, like I said before. I mean, can Kell Brook beat a Danny Garcia? Do you think Kell Brook could beat Danny Garcia? Let's just put it that way. You think that Kell Brook could beat a Sean Porter again? This new Sean Porter. Do you think so? Do you think that Kell Brook could beat Errol Spence already? He beat Errol Spence. He beat Sean Porter. No, Errol Spence beat him. I don't know if he could beat it. I don't know if he could beat Danny Garcia. How Danny Garcia performs against Errol Spence will tell us something. Do you think that Kell Brook could beat a Manny Pacquiao? These are the kind of questions you have to ask yourself. And I don't think he would beat most of those guys right now. I don't think so. I think it's a step below them, just a slight step below them. He should be in the top 10, maybe the lower half of the top 10. If he beats Errol Spence, he'll be in the lower half of the top 10. And so, I'm not Errol Spence, I'm Kell Brook. I'm Terrence Crawford. You know what I mean? So, it's tricky talking about it. Terry Gates says, "Do you think?" He says, "Yeah, I think you can beat a Danny Garcia." I don't know about that. That's just my personal opinion. I don't know if he could beat a Danny Garcia. And we'll see Danny Garcia on display against Errol Spence, and then you ask yourself the question: can he really beat Danny? So it's a great fight. In some respects, it's one that I thought was overdue. I thought Kell Brook should have faced him already, and he should be on to Sean Porter. I think Sean Porter's definitely going to push Terrence Crawford. Kell Brook, I can't say, man. I can't say. Too many questions around Kell Brook. If Kell beats Terrence, then he will be on the best welterweights in the division. Kell and Terrence can definitely have him beaten Pacquiao. Kell Brook beating Pacquiao? I don't know about that. Pacquiao's really quick. I mean, yeah, Kell Brook does pivot, but Kell gets hit too much. He gets hit too damn much. We'll see. That's my prediction anyway. Terrence Crawford win. Don't know exactly how. He's going to get the W. There's still certain things in Kell Brook's game that I see the same things over and over again that Terrence can exploit. On Kell Brook's end, I do believe he's going to catch Terrence Crawford with some of his shots. The question is, can he have an effect? If he hurts Terrence Crawford or even drops Terrence Crawford, we got to fight. But if he doesn't drop Terrence Crawford or hurt him, then that's Terrence Crawford's game. He can do whatever he wants with Kell Brooks. So we'll see. I don't know exactly how the outcome will fully actualize, but Terry Gay says that's true. Kell gets hit too much, but Pacquiao's getting old. He's like 45. No, Pacquiao's 41. He's going to be 42 at the end of this year. Come on, man. Don't give the guy extra age. Y'all guys exaggerate everything. You're pulling the Donald Trump on me, man. Stop exaggerating like that. So that's basically it. I think that I think that there's a chance that Kell Brook does have a chance in the fight. I'll give him that. He's got, he's really classy. He's all-around boxing skill and everything. But I just think that he has some flaws in his game, or should I say deficiencies in his game, that Terrence Crawford's going to find and exploit and then take advantage of the situation. I think that's where Terrence is going to get the W. I don't think this is going to be a split decision. I think it's going to be a unanimous decision win for Terrence Crawford. He's going to show he's in a totally different class. So I think that's what I'm going to stay with. Unanimous decision, Terrence Crawford. That's what I think will happen. Anyways, people, this is what you need in the building. I'm out of here. Pacquiao was struggling with Thurman when Thurman had a 1 to 2 year layoff after a car accident. He beat Keith Thurman though. Whether you like it or not, he beat Keith Thurman. I'm not saying he can fight all these young, strong champions, but if he stays WBA champ and he gets in there, Pacquiao's going to give Kell Brook, Terrence Crawford, Errol Spence all the problems in the world. All the problems in the world. It's just what it is. I'm out of here. What you need. I'll catch you guys later. Peace.